I'm Christian Abbott.
I'm Nathan Lavender.
I'm Sean Abbott.
And this is the Red Mist Podcast.
Hello, and welcome to the Red Mist Podcast, Episode 7. Tonight, we cover a groundhog in Canada, and two of us go in circles for 6 hours. Gents, shall we start with F1 in Canada?
Please. Yes. Yep. It was a beautiful day in Canada, wasn't it, for a race?
Well, it was a interesting weekend. We had
Well, first off, it's the first race back.
first race back
Since-
in 2 years,
Yeah,
2019.
in 2 years.
Let's start with that.
2019, so that was good to see. I like the track.
It's
love
a
the
classic.
Yeah, it's a great
I
track.
like it.
Good track. Also been there once, twice. Been there twice.
I have yet to go to an F1 race, so that day's still coming. But I have. But hey, you've been to Circuit Gilles Villeneuve?
Yes, I have.
What years?
I went there in 1980
Nice.
and 81. I went to the first two on the circuit.
Nice.
And I did confirm this, that back in the day, as a youth, I went to the, I think it was in 67 was the World's Fair, the Expo. And then it's like, I don't know if it runs for like 1 or 2 years, but we went like as a family like 2 years after, or a year after it started. So actually been there 3 times. So pretty cool.
Cool.
So
Sweet.
anyways, so I thought excellent weekend of Formula One action. We had a lot of weather that helped out. We had cars in and out of places where they shouldn't have been in terms of positioning, and some drivers returned to their old form. Checo.
Well, and might I add, in FP3, Christian and I were at Club Motorsports, and I was kind of like scrolling through Twitter, and the first thing I see is the results of FP3, and I thought it was in dry conditions at first, but I would later find out it was actually in the
rain,
wet.
Yeah.
And what ended up happening was it was Fernando Alonso was fastest, Pierre Gasly was second, and Sebastian Vettel was third. My mind blew up. I was like,
Yeah.
What? Is this like a
It was
a fake F1 page?
Yeah,
But
it was pretty.
it was
crazy.
from the actual Twitter page of Formula One. So, and first person I showed, I was like, Christian, look at this. Like,
Yeah. I almost
So
couldn't
elated.
believe my eyes for a second. But
Right.
but then also at that point too, we were like, well, qualifying's in a couple hours. So
Right.
if the weather stays the same, then you might
Yeah.
have the same grid, and that would be a pretty mixed up grid, anyways. But
Yeah, I mean it was crazy because they started off the week like I think it was Wednesday or Thursday. They had the massive downpour.
Thursday was a downpour.
Yeah, and
basically
it was
that's like they
the-
were loading in.
Yeah, the track
getting
was,
all set up.
Track was kind of flooded and was crazy. They were showing some
Yeah.
crazy video there, and then Friday was nice, and then Saturday was
Saturday was rain.
rain, and then so I think overall we were doing really well. So I mean, it was a nice mixed up field. So throughout the sessions, and then I thought qualifying it was interesting. You know, I think everybody made the right decisions in terms of tire compounds in the first.
Yeah, for the first two
sessions.
Yeah.
When we get to session 3, now obviously we had the surprises of biggest surprise I think in session 1 was I don't know what happened to the Aston Martin pace, because all weekend long they were kind of building and then it all went away.
Oh well, you didn't hear?
No.
Vettel was
Sebastian Vettel's radio.
Vettel was beating Stroll, and you can't have that happen at Canada. Not
No.
Would they dial the engine mode back on him? I
think
mean, okay, but I just was. It was
Anyways.
just crazy. Like
No,
that all of a sudden
they
went
definitely
away
went. They
'cause-
definitely went the wrong way on the
Yeah,
setup
because Vettel
from
was pretty,
FP3 to
Vettel
qualifying.
was pretty fired up on the radio.
Yeah.
Post that. FP2. I think the shock there was that the Haas's got through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they were,
So-
and they were also the highest pair in the F1 grid.
Yes, that's correct. Because
Fifth and sixth.
Checo went out in FP2.
Right.
He crashed in
He
FP2,
crashed.
and no matter what, Leclerc was going to the end of the grid.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah,
11th
him
and
and-
beyond.
Him
and
and
Tsunoda.
Sonoda.
Yeah.
And then so yeah, it was. Well, I mean, good. It was nice to see the Haas's up there, and good for Mick because definitely a confidence
Yeah.
booster for him. I mean, he's been definitely catching a lot of grief lately. And
Well,
then,
I mean, that's what happens when you have destroyed 2 race cars. So
right. I think if they were failures and had not wrecked the cars, I think it would have been. I think it'd be a little bit easier. But anyways,
yeah.
In that, and then the rest of this FP1 went pretty much according to plan. The one question I have, and it really kind of impacted his race from that point on, was why George Russell went out on dry tires. That
In Q3.
in Q3, there was absolutely no way you're going to get through turn 1. There was a puddle. It was damp, and it was also like I think 50 degrees. I mean, it wasn't that warm.
No, it wasn't warm.
And
at
there
all.
was
it was only like 60.
And the tires. If they baked in an oven for 9 hours, it still wasn't going to help them. I mean, so I just don't know why Mercedes did that. I mean, I don't know what they were looking for there because.
Well,
But no one else was doing it.
Yeah, I know,
You know?
but
So, I mean, you can really see
but you
the
can't.
difference.
Yeah, but
You can't pin it either.
Well,
What's the difference? The track was still wet. It wasn't dry
it was
enough.
cold and wet. So nothing
e-
was
everywhere
gonna happen.
except turn 1, there was a dry line, and
Yeah.
it was enough that you could get by. So from that standpoint, if they thought they could make it through turn 1, then fine. I don't think it was the right call
I don't think
anyway.
it- I just
No.
I just think they kind of and they did compromise his race
Yeah.
because he got he had to come back through from 10th. I mean, there
Yeah.
was still some stuff in the teams in there.
I mean, overall, I think the only difference at the end of the race would have been 1 position, but
he finished what 4th,
4th.
right?
Yeah,
he
Mr.
would have
Consistency.
been on the podium. Other than
Yeah, but in terms of
Sir
Mercedes, as a team, they would have.
well, they were
still,
pandering.
third and fourth.
They were pandering.
So, yeah.
as usual.
Yeah, they're working their way up together.
No, they were pandering
that-
to
well,
team.
well,
Team
I mean-
management was pandering.
Yeah. Oh my God. I mean, when is George Russell going to get the line? George, this is James.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Please hold position. I didn't hear that, but I'm waiting
Please
on
let Lewis through.
it. Yeah, or please don't attack. No fighting,
Yeah,
right? But
no fighting. Anyways, so that was qualifying. As for the race,
Well, qualifying. Let's not forget the true king of Spain returns and puts it on the front row
right
with a masterclass
Yes.
of
Yeah,
driving.
sorry.
And he almost.
nice.
Yeah,
I mean, not that he almost nicks pole, but
yeah, but it was exciting. It was.
It
Exciting.
was good to. I mean, the qualifying was good. You got to see a mixed up grid, and it was really exciting.
But it was
for
fun.
a day.
That, got Fernando up there.
Yeah,
and
Fernando back to
you
his
got
old
two
self, yeah.
houses, and
Yep.
it was good.
Yeah.
And Guan Yu Zhou or
Yep,
Zhou,
he got his
Zhou-
10th.
Zhou.
He started 10th.
Sorry,
well,
it's Zhou
he
Guan
had a-
Yu.
Yeah,
It's
Zhou Guan
Zhou
Yu.
because they say it on the
Yeah.
radio.
Yeah.
They call him Zhou on the radio.
Yeah.
Yeah, he again. He's starting to get with it.
he is,
Yeah.
and I would say almost at pace with Bottas.
Right.
Because I mean, look, he's getting points now.
Yeah. No,
He's
great.
on a snowball effect. I think it's only going to get
that's
better.
good. That's good.
And
yeah.
the Canadian Grand Prix, I mean, Circuit Gilles Villeneuve is no easy track.
No.
So, I mean,
it's a
all in
good
all,
test.
really good for him.
Yep, excellent. As for the race, I know Christian and I were kind of before it started. We were kind of thinking about what was going to happen at the start.
Yeah,
Because everyone was speculating, will Fernando throw it down the inside?
No,
Well,
I didn't see it coming.
But Fernando was. I mean, he was going to be committed if he had the chance, anyways.
Right, but I think
yeah.
I was like, I just said to Christian, Verstappen's going to nail the start, and he did.
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
Yeah.
come on. You got the best driver in the grid right now,
And
the
then
best car.
and then Carlos nailed his start.
Yeah. No,
know?
the start was good.
And then this is what infuriates me about Haas is what in God's name was Magnussen really thinking?
So so his front wing broke in the first lap.
Right.
When I went back on when I watched the onboard, I don't think it was from contact with Lewis.
It was somewhere else.
I think
No,
so.
it was contact with Esteban Ocon.
That's what it was.
Oh,
so
who snuck up on the inside when that was all going on?
Yeah, and the FIA is French, so they won't do anything.
So,
or unless.
Wow, you're French.
Bonjour. Over there.
Okay. So that makes. I still don't.
But no, I agree. Yeah, you got to keep your nose clean. Yeah,
you got to get.
But
they just keep their nose clean.
I do agree with K-Mag though, with his comments because they played the radio message with Ocon being like, oh well, his front wing is damaged, and it's like, it's not broken.
Not going down that road. That's all going back to Sir Lewis complaining that Ocon chopped him at Saint Devote.
Well, that's completely different, I think.
Yeah, but he didn't do anything. He defended into that corner.
Yeah,
but
It doesn't matter. It's just that.
No, it does.
No,
it's
but
not the same situation, though.
It is because guess who complained?
Yeah, Lewis complained, but
complained,
there was no
no
damage though that any driver had to pit for. That's not the case.
I understand that, but it's just the politicking that goes on. So now, it gets
politics.
Into, So now it gets into Ocon's head. Well, if he did it, I'm going to do it.
Right.
I don't blame him.
Okay.
I have no blame on it.
No,
okay.
Actually, that does make sense. Yeah, with that kind of thinking from Monaco, it's infuriating.
But now he knows what he's got to do, which is complain every 5 minutes, and he doesn't want to. So I think that's what happened there. I'm just like the Haas guys. Yeah. You're driving. I mean, no joke. You've got a Haas. Okay, it's not the Mercedes.
Yeah.
All right. If you got there and could make the corner, then fine. But what my biggest thing is, it's like, guys, you got to get points.
Right.
You guys aren't going to win. They're just not going to win. So it's like, I think the drivers, and I mean, this is what, I don't know, like, it just doesn't go through their heads. I mean, I don't care. Like, I mean, Gunther must tell them, like, guys, you got to get points. It's like, how freaking hard is it? Like, Schumacher was definitely in points gathering mode. And what happened?
A Ferrari engine.
Yeah, Ferrari engine let go. So I mean, I feel bad for him because he definitely would have been in that. He would have been in the points.
Mm-hmm.
So I just like I like K-Mag because he's aggressive, but there's a point when it's like, just settle in.
Right, but even his mindset too. Even after that race with his comments on it, he's like,
well, he was upset about what happened, yeah.
Right, but I mean, he does make a valid point where it's like, if the front wing really isn't that critical in terms of the amount of downforce that it produces, then I get it. If debris falls off, whatever, like, you handle it then. But to preemptively make everyone pit every single time, even though if it doesn't break, because who knows? What if he makes it all the way to the pit stop and then Haas just either tapes it up like AlphaTauri did with their rear wing, or you replace it then.
Right.
So because then I agree with him. It's like you're forcefully ruining someone else's race. Like, just let them do their thing, and then if a safety car comes out, then you react that way. So.
Yeah. But I mean, it's just, is that the precedent you want to set in Formula One?
Well,
I mean, if you're asking me, no.
I think
it's the Karen way to do it, isn't it? Like, I mean, you're really just going to complain until you get something out of it.
Yeah, I think the drivers and the team radio messages between them and the stewards need to be very minimal, and the stewards need to just make the calls that they make. Because just the more separation that you can have and the less influence on one another, I think that's the way to go about it. Because then you have, like, just about in any other sport where. Because you don't want someone whistling in your ear, right, or whispering in your ear. You want you want them to, if they're gonna act like the referees of the sport, then just have them make the calls on their own time, and you know what, that's the call and that's it. And then if you want to protest it after the race, you protest it. But
right, that's just the most efficient way to do it. Just because then you could look at it without the pressure of running a race.
Yeah, because you can look
back at it after.
You can't be sending emails to to whoever is up there. You know, that's just no one needs
Michael,
to be
did you
doing
get
that.
my email?
Yeah.
To Eduardo Freitas,
Yeah.
and I forget the other guy's name, but yeah. So I mean, so beyond that, the race kind of it settled in at that point,
Yeah.
and it really it was uneventful up and teams started making pit stops, trying to say this is what I'm going to do in terms of my tire strategy at this point.
Yeah, you saw people either committing to the 2-stop or the 1-stop.
And then we had the virtual safety cars coming into play, which actually played into I think both Carlos Sainz and Verstappen, and they just kind of jockeyed 1 and 2 for a bit. I mean, people were saying the Red Bull was definitely hooked up on coming out of the corners and getting the power down. And I mean, because every time when Max was behind,
Leave him.
when Max was behind Carlos in certain parts of the race, when they got to the hairpin, it take him about 1 or 2 laps to set him up. And when he'd set him up, he'd get this massive drive out, and then he'd get the DRS.
Yeah.
And then he just blew by
Well,
him.
from turn 1 to the hairpin, that's where the Red Bull dominated.
And then the Red Bull with DRS definitely has an advantage on the Ferrari.
Massively.
Yeah, the effect of DRS this year is
It's not as it's not as it used to be.
no, it's not as powerful, but the fact that they can start out because the cars can follow closer, it makes it seem easier than what it was.
Right. But if you don't, like, Max was like, as I kind of will get to it as the race kind of wore on. So they just kept jockeying around, and then I think the turning part of the race, like of all was Sonoda just going straight off at turn 1. It was like, oops.
Yeah.
Well, the Sainz pit was begging almost for a safety car.
About 5 minutes.
The racing
because
lords
5 minutes
threw it on the track.
Yeah, but 5 minutes before that, they came out and it's like, Carlos, the safety car window has opened.
Yeah.
And
right.
and he goes, what did he say? He said something because you made a comment about it.
Yeah, he was. I think he said something along the lines of like, "Oh
was-
yeah,
it was
like I hope it comes
It
comes in."
was
or something
typical
like that.
Carlos,
Yeah.
very cheeky. It was
Yeah.
funny. But it turns out, they make the pit stop. This is Christian and I were talking here. This is one of those things we were kind of wondering why Red Bull just didn't pit and just put another set of tires back on the car.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
their timing was pretty good too, because it was like a 7-lap difference.
Yeah, but you're right. But it was 7 laps.
yeah, but you could have argued like just put both fresh tires on and have a fair shot at
and
it.
we were kind of talking maybe put the mediums on, but it was still a good chunk of the
Maybe, yeah.
But anyways, so from that point on, of course, we get Crofty gets his pants in a bunch on the start, and Max just drives away.
Yeah,
and it was like, he gets it out, gets it to a second, Carlo clutches it back, gets in DRS, and then it was just kind of from that point on, it was really.
I mean, Carlos had a good couple laps where he was trying to charge at him, but he just couldn't.
And then there was also where Max was recharging and charging, dispensing the charge on the car and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it was all that going into play. And Carlos was saving it, obviously, to try and DRS and charge it going down and dumping it down the back straight. But he couldn't get out of the corner. The hairpin.
No, and he was making up all the time exiting.
Yeah.
Well, and you could see from the onboard with him that I think, and this is the difference between I think him and
Max.
Leclerc.
Oh, Leclerc, yeah.
Where Carlos can get the power down smooth, Leclerc can get it down and be precise at every corner. Whereas Carlos, you can see like that is the pace difference between the two of them.
And you could see it with Max too, because when they had that in-car camera from not inside Sainz's helmet, but in his car, when he was behind Max, come out like turn 1, Max was just getting in, and the car was going away, and Carlos was kind of fighting
the wheel a little bit.
But
but you could see he was trying to get the power down, and that's where the rear end would just step out
earlier
from him.
Yeah. So I mean, from that that point on, it was it was fun.
Good race.
It was fun.
Yeah.
certainly was.
good for Leclerc to fight back. P5.
Yep.
Yeah, so
Top
good for
5.
him. Top 5.
Good damage limitation.
Speaking of top 5,
and then we have
George Russell.
Yeah, well, see, that's the thing. Well, that's we already beat that to the death, anyways. No, and then we had Lewis, and then I think the biggest disappointment. Well, it depends if you're in the Red Bull camp. Is when Helmut Marko deployed the gearbox destroy button on
The self-destruct button.
on Checo. Yeah, the self-destruct button on Checo's gearbox.
Well,
So.
I mean, it almost gave me a raised eyebrow. Like I was like, is this a Red Bull at Bahrain issue?
Well,
almost?
but then this
What's
is
happening?
Well, they didn't really need to do that because, well, here's the thing. You really don't want to be doing that because he self-penalized himself in practice.
Yeah.
And it was like, the unfortunate thing was he went into the barrier harder than everyone else and got it stuck in the Tech Pro.
Yeah.
Whereas everyone else kind of went in, bounced off it, and they were able to get their cars going. They can't be in this point of playing games, we're not going down the conspiracy road here, but playing games because they're still in a fight for the manufacturers championship.
Well, but I think regardless,
Well, big time.
I think this is a good point where it's like you got to for Red Bull, you got to remind yourself like just because we're going into round 10 and from Imola, it's been a 95 point swing.
Right.
In Verstappen's favor over
Leclerc. We know what happened last year.
Right, because from the first 2 races this year, we were like, oh, this championship is Ferrari's going to walk away with it.
Right.
And now we're at the point like, all right, Red Bull's going to walk away from it because they've won 6 races in a row.
They've won 6. I trust the Red Bull reliability a little bit more than
but
don't.
This is the thing, just the way the season has gone.
Right.
I wouldn't hold anything down.
I don't
yet.
know. It's just Ferrari being Ferrari as usual with their reliability problems, and it's spanning across their other cars.
Because this is the thing that this is what I have in the back of my mind is because Mercedes has yet to DNF a car, and they've taken care of their car really well. So for all the bitching that they do about the porpoising,
yes,
my back.
Yeah, the over the top.
Outside of that, right? If you have Ferrari and Red Bull just shooting themselves in the foot with reliability. I'm not going to put Mercedes out of this championship completely just yet because they could come in the last quarter of the season and Red Bull and Ferrari are just engulfed in penalties where they have to start from the back, and Mercedes would just now have this chance to walk away with the race.
Right.
So I would. I don't know how close they would even get if that was a possibility, but that's but there is still that opportunity for them to pounce on your competitors' mistakes. So I mean, for as much as them with their porpoising issue and that being their mistake, but there's clearly some reliability issues with the Ferrari and Red Bulls.
Yeah.
Well, I would even further add, like, look at Charles Leclerc. Look, he started 11th, had himself a mid-pack race, and then finished 5th.
Mm-hmm. He started 11th. He started 11th. He started 19th.
Oh,
he had a full grid drop.
Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! That's right.
That's why.
Here I am thinking he's on.
No. That's why that drive.
Yeah,
was
no, that's
impressive.
right. No, you're right. You're right.
And he had to overcome some silliness on the Ferrari pit wall too. So, in terms of like making pit stops.
Well, still, I mean, even more remarkable, he finished 5th.
Yeah. No.
So I mean, look, even if there is an upcoming race, let's just say where it's Red Bull and Ferrari are just behind the 8 ball, and then maybe a Mercedes front row lockout, I wouldn't exactly call it a Mercedes safe race. Because sure, you got the reliability, but you still have 2 of the faster cars working their way through the grid.
Right. Yeah, but that's, I mean, it just depends on how much time you have that you can buy yourself, right? Because the grid this year is definitely still closer because it's not like Leclerc, charge his way through right up to the top 3 like Lewis has done over the past 7 years.
Right.
So it's definitely yes, they're the 2 dominant cars, but the gap isn't as large as Mercedes had.
Right.
Yep. No, that makes sense. I was just thinking like when we get to Silverstone or Silverstone, what do you want to call it? It's I almost want to think. I really, deep down in the back of my mind, it's going to be a Red Bull walk away.
Yeah, I mean,
I just
say
They-
that Ferrari's going to be knocking on the door, I think.
they should be, but Silverstone is also yes, it's high speed, but you're at top speed too. So I think Ferrari has a better engine there. So
Right.
it's just how well do they handle it
Yeah.
there. But at Baku, their engines went poof.
Right, they went poof.
Right.
They went poof, and I don't know. I just have a feeling. I think
We have a week in between now and then. So
see what goes on.
Yeah. To even do early predictions right now, that's a little far fetched because we don't even know what the weather is going to be like.
Right.
Plus, it's England, and you never know what the weather's going to be like.
It always rains. It always rains.
Good thing is we got 2 weeks for predictions, so study up, boys. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
I just want to take a moment here to memorialize and remember Gary the Groundhog.
Yeah. Rest in peace.
Rip Gary.
Chris.
Yeah.
He was a nice groundhog.
He was taken down by a fellow Canadian.
Which one?
Murderer.
Well, he was taken down by
Daddy's Cash?
Daddy's Cash Light.
Yeah.
He gets
the
what
other one.
he gets one ding on the cash register.
Yeah, just one.
Whereas
He's because you know what it is. He's 21st. in
Big
the
Daddy
standings, too,
Stroll.
so-
Yeah, Big Daddy Stroll gets.
Right. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, so just a couple other things that were out there in the world of racing F1 news. Nikita Mazepin has popped up yet again. He is taking and suing Haas for his driver retainer, which essentially comes from his dad. So when his dad right. So when his dad puts in whatever, they pay back. Nikita gets his $5 million or whatever that he needs to live on or whatever, just to think that he's a professional racing driver. So he's popped back up and spouting off. So it's kind of entertaining.
Who is this?
Mazepin.
I've never heard of this name.
Nikita?
He seems pretty irrelevant.
Nikita.
0 points.
Favorite F1 driver of Vladimir Putin. So he's popped
not
back
Kvyat?
up in the news. No, it's not Danny
Danny
Kvyat.
Kvyat is he's a way better F1 driver.
Yeah.
No,
Gets podiums, actually.
Kvyat was.
And then
was good.
so he popped back up. Just some good stuff there. Just some other things that were out there. Is the big thing is this team managers meeting that took place on over the weekend in Canada to talk about the bouncy cars.
Yeah.
And apparently everyone all of the I gotta send a picture to you, Nate, in a little bit. Sorry, I just pulled it up. Just pulling up this, just kind of recap of the story. But there's a great picture of Toto. Apparently Toto used this meeting as and it happened that, and this should never happen, was that the FIA let Netflix in on the meeting.
Oh,
so
Toto, there's going to be all sorts of memes.
So Toto took the opportunity, since his favorite F1 driver took the opportunity last week in Baku to play up the back pain, my back, which didn't seem to be bugging him this weekend.
No, well, because we just got reminded that
Right.
the Canadian fans are the best fans.
And we fight on, we fight hard.
I see you out there.
I see you out there. Thanks, Lewis. I mean, come on, buddy. But Toto decided that when the proposal came out from the FIA, and it was kind of shot back. So now, he took in the meeting. He called everyone pitiful and disingenuous and all sorts of stuff. And of course, somebody went to Horner and got his comment, and I think there was a little bit of, like, as Horner said, I think there was an element of theater going on in that meeting. and and so you have
The opera was
so
being
so
performed.
maybe with Lewis's new movie coming out, it's getting Toto was kind of getting ready for it. That's seriously what Horner said. There was a great line that somebody said. Hold on a second. It was where is it suggested? Oh yeah, because Toto was lobbying for a minimum ride height. So obviously the reason he's lobbying for the minimum ride height is that minimum ride height is where the Mercedes works.
Yes, yep.
Right.
And
other cars
just raise the car, Toto.
Well, that's
Just
what
raise-
that's what everyone's been saying, but like other teams, so now it's like everyone else has been dealing with it in different ways. And in terms of the Red Bull can run at this height, the Red Bull can run at, the Alpha can run at certain heights, all this stuff. And now he wants them to come back with a minimum height. And he's going to suggest what the minimum height is. And that's going to be the height that the Mercedes works at. So it's
I don't think it's so much that. I think it's the fact that he's like, well, our car can't get lower, but clearly other cars can. So if I raise everyone else's car, so then that way everyone else suffers but us. That's what that's what I think it's going for.
And this was quoted in autoracing1.com, which I kind of like, but they always have some cheeky stuff, but they cobble stuff together kind of nicely. And this is what they wrote, quote, Toto Wolff lobbied for the FIA to step in and even suggested a minimum ride height be set. Okay, so that's the height that the Mercedes works at, Toto. We know that. And then, so now this is the quote, while rival bosses claimed it was a Mercedes issue, and it was bullshit that the FIA was implementing a rule to measure porpoising to save Mercedes' ass, when in fact design engineers need to fix it. Yeah, I agree completely.
Right. Yeah,
it's like, you know what, guys? Then that led to this thing came out. This came out of like the Twitter sphere, which is like, take it for what it's worth. Take it for what it's worth. That Toto's now claiming that they're going to copy the Red Bull.
Well, look, the green Red Bull already did.
So here, my thing is, how about this, Toto? Don't even say the word copy, because if any part of that car comes out looking like one, the FAA is going to be on them worse than they were on Aston Martin.
Well, regardless, racing is always no matter
agree,
what, because if you
copy.
go along in every set of rules, the cars always look similar by the end of the regulations.
At some point, yeah.
So yes, like, is there some copying? Of course, but you have to. You're trying to
be a dummy.
You're trying to mesh their design with your design, because
right. It may not work,
correct, because your car philosophy that you build off of is what you stand by.
Right.
So if you can't get your competition's philosophy to mesh with yours because it's just too far, then it's not going to work at all.
Right.
But I mean, regardless, this rule that came out, basically the FIA put it back on Mercedes and was like,
yes,
okay, well, if you,
and that's why he's all upset now,
right? Because what they effectively turned around and said was, oh, well, if the rule that they stated was that the oscillations have to be within a certain limit. So then that way it's, because if it's too excessive, then that can be damaging to the driver's health.
Right.
Right. So then what the team needs to do is make sure that they're operating within that window. So, and I guess from whatever traces that are out there that I've seen, Mercedes is just way skyrocketing on that chart, whereas everyone else is more or less in the same ballpark. So it really doesn't affect anyone else except Mercedes.
Right.
So that rule comes back and tells Mercedes, you are the only one that has to change your ride height.
If we remember back to the first test session, in Barcelona. No, there was they had the pre-test in Bahrain. Is that what it was? What was that?
There was the closed door, behind the door testing.
Anyways, the one in Barcelona, when they came out, Mercedes came out the first day and they were quick.
Yeah.
They were fast. Then day two,
anyways,
day two, they bring out the side pods. or lack thereof.
The no side.
And ever since then, that car has
plummeted.
It hasn't run right. So obviously they didn't get something right. So
Well, but this gets back to my thought about it is if they think that design was better, then whatever design that they had for side pods wasn't working.
No.
So regardless of which one they put on, it's probably not going to solve either.
That's what some of the more technical journalists have said.
Yeah,
like Craig Scarborough and Sam Collins have said that they obviously it wasn't. They went to this because the other thing wasn't going to hold up. So but Toto is really starting to it's like.
He's a crybaby.
When it doesn't go his way, I'm gonna moan and cry and and then he's got Lewis crying and moaning and the only one in the whole group that isn't crying and moaning is George.
Yep.
He's somehow dragging that car up and getting finishes
to a certain degree.
He's getting finishes.
Well,
because
there's certain things
like
that
you said, he is Mercedes-fied,
he's
and
a Mercedes driver.
He's got the
says the
Mercedes.
lines,
He's got the Mercedes chip in his neck. I know that, but he's not. He
does drive through a lot.
He drives.
Of it.
He drives through a lot of it, and the
Yeah.
acting that is going on with the other two is just. It's just. Anyways,
right.
Netflix show worthy, huh?
Yeah, it's network show worthy, but I mean, it's like these other guys are right. It's like what, you made your bed, lie in it, and suck it up, Buttercup. Yeah. So
and look, you know what? So did the other teams. Like Fernando Alonso. I think at the time where he's like, well, what if we had the same cars?
Yeah.
To Lewis Hamilton, and then it's just Lewis is like, no.
Yeah. Oh, exactly.
So
that'll. So we're on to Silverstone.
Yep.
Home race for a lot of teams, so that'll be fun. See what teams bring there, if anything. I'm sure some folks are gonna bring some stuff.
can you imagine? Kind of quick thing on this. Imagine just like a duel between Lewis Hamilton and George Russell, and they just crash each other.
I don't want to see anyone crash out.
Not
really?
trying to say crash.
No. I'd see those two crash out and then Lando wins.
There is going to be a tipping point. That would be funny. I will say this: there is going to be a tipping point coming at Mercedes at some point when if George keeps handing it to him.
Yeah,
there's going to have to be, and if it goes into like next year.
If George beats him this year and next year, Lewis is done.
Yeah, he's done. He's done. But there's going to be this tipping point that the team's like, all right, he's like, we got to, it's like we got a new number one. I hate to say it, but that's the way it works.
Well, look at the points. I mean, there's
even
at least a one race gap between George Russell and Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah.
And George Russell, I mean, just is bringing points home. So, and so he's at
Mr. Consistency.
111. Yeah. And Lewis Hamilton has Bottas's number, 77 points.
Right.
Yeah.
And right away, that's over 25 points.
What's Bottas on now?
46.
He was sitting on 44.
Yeah, well, because Fernando got hit with a post-race penalty.
I know.
No, I saw that
it
meme.
Was,
it was kind of comical.
It was kind of comical.
I know what you mean, Sean.
But anyways, so we'll move on to Silverstone and see what happens there. I think at this point, I mean, if I'm Max, as long as it's Leclerc not winning races, I'm looking to get as many points as I can per race and keep it going. As long as Leclerc finishes behind me.
There's almost a 50-point gap right now. So, and there's definitely going to be there's still races on the calendar that Red Bull that Red Bull's the favorite as
Monza.
I think Ferrari is the favorite at
I'm going to be believing
Monza.
All right, my only reason
I want to hear it, Sean.
Is the Ferrari is still subject to the bouncing. Okay? It is still subject to the bouncing.
That's true.
Yeah.
Not as bad as the other cars, but it's still subject to the bouncing. So over a lap-on-lap basis, that adds up. If the Red Bull, if they both have a no-frills race and the Red Bull is not bouncing as much, which it's clearly not, it's going to make up time. Every bounce is a lost time, right?
Yes. Yep. You think otherwise,
Yes and no, because case in point, Australia, Bahrain.
Well, no, you can't say that because Australia, they had didn't Red Bull have a problem there? They had the problem.
Yeah, but Leclerc put it on
Yeah.
pole and was out there winning.
I understand that. I get it.
And they
but
were and
I'm not.
and
Pole
Ferrari
doesn't,
was
pole doesn't win you the race. I'm just talking about winning the race.
I understand that, but if you're talking about raw pace and who has a better package,
Yeah, but
Ferrari is.
But
I still
you-
think Ferrari is
in
the faster car.
But in
I would say
race
so,
setup
too.
and qualifying setup are two different things.
Yes,
Okay,
For sure.
I mean,
but if you're talking about if you're talking about a track like Monza where it's all about top speed, Ferrari.
okay. Well, I'm
I would
just,
say Ferrari has the edge also. Only because, look, isn't the Red Bull more of a cornering car?
Yes,
That's what I mean.
to a
So,
degree.
because case in point, this weekend Ferrari was dominant on the straightaway, and then Red Bull was
But
dominant
when you
on
get
the
to
twisty
when you get to
section.
the parabolica, okay, you're coming down a straight
Yep.
into
Yes,
the parabolica. What car is going to carry more speed through the parabolica?
How much time do you spend through the parabolica versus the four main straights that are on the track?
It's so important to go through there carrying speed because you're carrying
does.
speed from one straightaway to another.
It does, but if your car is slippery in a straight line,
Yeah, but if
this is
the
argument
Red
of
Bull comes
which
up
one you
behind
want.
Leclerc and it's like zing, there goes the DRS and he goes by him. You know what car is going faster around the track in certain spots, and it's the Red Bull.
Any car that has DRS is going to be the faster one.
Right, but you have to be able to maintain that time, that delta, where the DRS works and you can get by him.
The only place where you really get away at Monza is going through the two Lesmo corners.
Yeah, I guess.
Hang
Yeah.
on. Kimball, let me add some paprika to this. I would also even see Valtteri Bottas up there in the top 5. Crazy enough.
Alpha does say that they have a fast car.
Yeah, so we'll
They have
see.
a fast
We'll
car,
see. We'll
and
see.
they have a
We'll see
fast
what
driver
happens.
Yeah.
in it. Now.
Well, we'll see next Silverstone. We'll see. Fast track.
I know.
Fast
Yeah,
track.
yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see.
So
All right.
Who knows? Maybe Fernando wins.
All right. So
that
that'd
would
be
just,
fun. That would be nice.
He almost did it He almost did it at Australia.
Yeah, well,
we
would like
well,
to see it.
I know. I
Because Australia,
that was a pole run.
exactly.
That was a pole run.
So
Yeah. All right.
all right. So let's move on to
Yeah.
two of
Done
us.
with
Two of us
Formula
go. Two of us go karting for a 6-hour race this weekend.
Yeah.
And
Was it you, Sean? Did you
no,
go
no,
go
that I did not go. I did not go karting for. I did not go around in circles for 6 hours. So, but anyways, I'll hand it over to you guys to let us know how it went.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Red Mist Racing took part in the Endurance Karting. What is it, Nate? Endurance Karting of America. I think I'm.
No, it's
butchering that.
it's endurance karting. And it was the 6 hours of New England at Club Motorsports. Now I've never been to Club Motorsports, so this was a real treat for me to learn new track and new karts too. They just added this fleet not too long ago. Sometime this year, a couple of months back, I would say.
No,
maybe a month. It was really
like
recent.
a month ago. Yeah.
But
let's see.
I heard a lot about these karts from Alec Vidal, the guy who runs Touring Kart Championship, and he's been giving me all sorts of positive feedback from these karts. He's like, "Oh, this is a great new fleet. You know, you gotta have to definitely do a race soon." And this was one of the races. That was just circled me. I'm in Manchester, so it's like right there. For me, so like a 90-minute drive, no problem.
Yeah.
And so
it's endurance karting, and the series is called Endurance Karting, and you can find them at procupkarting.com. And then the karts that they have, they're brand new. They just got them. They're Honda powered dyno karts, and they have a Honda GX 270 engine, and they weigh about 285 without a driver, and they go about 50 miles an hour top speed. So just for you, everyone who likes specs out there, that's what we were driving. But yeah, really fun race and fun event.
It really was.
yeah. So I guess
Well,
what?
and we also had a good team too. Like we
Oh
had
yeah,
some
yeah.
really fast drivers.
Let's get back to that. So on our team, it was myself, Nate, Alex Gomes, and Charlie Hosey or Hosa.
Jose, yep.
Okay, I'm sorry, Charlie, if I butcher your name. But the two guys from Formula Hooligan podcast, and then we had the return of Evan Rackison, and then we also
Yes.
had Hugh North as well.
Who made, I would say, probably the most exciting pass coming onto the main straight. He passed 4 guys in one corner.
Yeah,
I was like,
dude,
where did that come from?
there
That's
was
awesome.
there was some awesome overtakes that we had. Now the field that we were driving in, there was 15 teams, right?
16.
16
16 total.
Okay, 16
Total.
teams, and then there was classes divided up amongst the 16, and the only thing that dictated you being in in whatever class you were in was mainly just based on experience you had with racing. So if you were a rookie, that means like you really didn't have a whole lot of experience. If you were in the semi-pro class, you had like a year or two, and then if you were in the pro class, you had like 3 or 4. That's how they defined it. But you could also, if you had 0 years of experience and you wanted to run in the pro class, you could do that. It was totally up to you. And then there was also the masters class, which I believe the average age of the team had to be over 35 or 40.
Okay.
And then there was uh, there was the big boy class if you wanted to run in that as well. But there was no big boy class team. So and then you could run the event solo if you wanted as well. So but yeah, rules of the race was you had to make a minimum of 15 pit stops, and
2 of them had to be fuel stops or at least cart changes.
yes,
So that was going to take 4 minutes for each of those stops.
Yep.
And then the remaining 13 per stop, it would be 20 seconds.
Yeah. And then the fuel stops, what they did was they just swapped you to a different cart, so then that way they could refuel the cart on their own, and then you could just focus on the racing. So that's how that stuff worked. And then any other rules out there?
There was a halfway caution.
Yes.
So there was that too.
Yep.
That we had to pay attention to. At the 2 hour and 55-minute marker, the pits would close, and soon after, 5 minutes later, the full course caution would come out for 1 lap.
Yep.
1 lap, gather everybody together, and do a restart, and continue on for the rest of the race, the next 3 hours.
Yeah, and then the only other time pits were closed was, I think, 15 or 20 minutes before the end of the race. So,
Right.
But by the end of the race, you either had it figured out or you didn't. So, but yeah, so the 6 of us came together to form Red Mist Racing, and even before the race started, I was really excited to have this team together because the 6 of us have all. I think we've all started out racing at F1 Boston, and
Yes.
that's where we got to know one another and race with one another too, and figure each other's racecraft out. And honestly, we sat there and we thought we had a really good team together, and I think we did, because even over the practice session period, we were sitting there just comparing lap times. And I mean, Alex had done a bunch of testing days there with his own kart, so he right out of the gate he knew the track way better than all of us. So we knew he was going to be our fast guy for the day, which was totally fine. I think he was about a quarter to a half second quicker than the rest of us on average. And a lap time around there is around 39 or 40 seconds.
I think the fastest lap time was a 39.2, which I mean was blinding fast.
Right.
And like I would even say like a mid 39 was still relatively pretty quick.
Yep.
And then a high 39 second lap time was good.
Mhm.
But if you're in the 40 seconds, it was like, all right, got to pick up the pace.
Yeah, especially being in the pro class. But I mean, compared to the rest of the field, low 40s was still quick.
Right.
But
Because in rookie class, it was a little
yeah, it
quite,
was
like
like
at least a
41
second.
second. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
It was definitely a skill gap. But that's the difference in the classes, so that's fine.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, then the rest of the five of us, when we were all comparing lap times to one another, we were pretty much within a quarter of a second of each other. So I mean, like that, I don't really know how much tighter you could get on lap times.
I don't know that, and it was all close between us.
Yeah.
I even did some practice on the day before just to kind of get myself up to speed,
Hmm.
and I ended up improving my lap times pretty quickly, and I got really comfortable with the track after Friday practice sessions, um and we were all, like you said, we were all relatively very, very close
Yeah.
in terms of lap time. And I'll tell you what, speaking of lap time, I think qualifying was kind of the real, like, wow, this is close.
Yeah.
Because between the top three, it was separated by
Less than
like it
a
was half a hundredth.
it was less than a tenth of a second. It was 14 thousandths between first and second, and then from us in third, we qualified third for the race, and we were, I think, 700ths off of pole. So that only put us just barely over half a tenth behind second. So I mean, regardless, like you're talking about, if you put three guys on a track and they're all running the same time, the only difference in lap time really is going to be the draft at that point.
Which, I mean, it wasn't draft.
Right.
I wouldn't really put it as like something to really like consider on strategy, anyways.
Mm-hmm. So.
And it cracked me up because Alec was just like, "You should draft us." I'm like, "All right, let's switch positions then. You push us." and he changed his mind right away. He was like,
Yeah. Well, I think so.
Listen,
Yeah. So
I want just to say it. I love Alec Vidal. He's a great man. Great series. But I was just like, dude, like, all right, let's switch positions, and then he just backtracked.
yeah. So I think just to back up a little bit. So we started the race third. Voodoo Racing got the pole, and then the Touring Kart Championship,
Touring Kart Racing.
Sorry,
Yeah,
Touring Kart Racing.
Yep.
Started second, and then us Redmond Racing started third. So the race begins with, and let's not forget, one of the biggest moments of the race is a true Le Mans style start.
Yes.
So after qualifying ended, everyone pulled in the pits. They gassed up all the carts, sent us back out on a procession lap, came around to the front stretch, and then we lined all the carts up staggering on the left-hand side of the track, and turn one is a left turn, so it's on the inside of the track. And then we lined all the carts up, pointing diagonally at the edge of the track, and then we had all the drivers who were starting the race go to the right side of the track or the opposite side, and you had to have 1 foot on the white line, and then everyone was looking at the flagger to start the race. He would wave the green flag, and then all the drivers would run to the carts and start the race that way, as a traditional Le Mans start would do. Now,
Yeah.
I gotta say, watching the video back, because when that initial start happened, you could tell between first and second that they have done it before, and then even more so when I looked the video back, you could tell You could immediately tell why they were good at the start that they did, because when they jumped in, the first thing that made contact was their right foot on the gas, and then their right hand on the steering wheel to help keep them steady, and then they basically just then swung the rest of their body into the cart from there, while the cart was moving with them somewhat still in the air. So whereas compared to everyone else was kind of still trying to sit in the cart and then go.
Yeah, and I'd even add, Alex did a great job getting it initially, like get it right off the grid.
Yeah.
There was nothing really funny or silly that he did. He did an amazing start. He was able to keep pace. Um, and I'd even add, we had our worst cart in the uh, uh, first part of the race, like the first
Yeah.
what was it, hour and a half, 2 hours we pitted,
Yeah, two. I
and then
think
we
yeah,
got
2 hours. Yeah.
I think it was 2 hours. Um, well, we like at least we had of the three carts we had, the first one was out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
The worst one, but I mean they're all still like good. It was like pretty close in terms of like what the carts were.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
And which is very nice.
For a rental kart series, having brand new karts, because this was only the second race that they had run these karts with. The field was the karts were super close to one another, so it wasn't like you had this rocket of a kart or this dog of a kart either. So it was nice to have that element be somewhat thrown out the window. Yeah, I mean, when you start talking about like nitty gritty and you're like really breaking down your lap times, sure, you can definitely find a difference between the karts, but the fact that it wasn't a massive gap was good, to at least keep the field really competitive and nice and close. But yeah, so the race started, and then I guess kind of like circle back to your point about drafting at the start of the race. I think it was pretty evident that Alex was quicker than the touring kart team at the start. So I think we wanted to leave him out there to try and get around him, but there was a little bit more battling, and I think that's where we kind of caught ourselves a little bit, where we probably should have pitted earlier than we did, because by the time we pitted, Voodoo Racing was probably a quarter of the lap ahead at that point. I mean,
And they had some serious pace.
yeah, all props to them. The two guys that were on that team did a phenomenal job all day, and they really had some stellar pace throughout the entire day. So I really don't think we would have been able to catch up to them, especially doing two drivers versus six drivers that we had, where we basically would get in and we only had two stints each to go out there and
Right.
lay down fast lap times all the time, whereas they more or less, I want to say they split it 3-3, but maybe one of them did a little bit more and one did a little less. But regardless, it's hard to match pace like that when you're constantly switching out different drivers versus having two of the same drivers in the car all the time.
Right. And when I got in the first stint, I feel like it did a pretty good job. It was the last stint. I was very pumped. Like I felt like I was putting my best laps in.
Mm-hmm.
I was really making not moves for position, but I was just really cutting my way through traffic very efficiently.
Yeah.
And that was just the name of the game, just to minimize time in traffic. And that was I felt like I delivered, especially on my last stint. I was really pleased with my last stint. And there was a point where I was like, oh, I really want to get back in the cart. Like I was even yawning. And you caught me mid yawn.
Yeah, I did.
Christian, like there is a picture of that.
Yeah.
But I'd even add, you even got me looking really good on pit road, which I thank you.
Yeah.
And that 5, I love that you picked 5. I was like, of all numbers.
Well, yeah, we
did pick that.
Yeah, we had to go back in time a little bit on our Red Mist team history and get the number 5 for you. So you're welcome.
Thank you. That was nice. It all cracked me up at the drivers' meeting. I was and then you picked that. I was like, what? What are the chances?
I know. I looked at you. I was like, oh well, go figure.
Yeah. Well, and what's funny too? Like Brenna Schuber of the touring kart racing.
Mm-hmm.
She picked a number and she picked 69. I was like, nice. I was the first. I had to have been the first person to say it to her. She was just like, oh my god, Nate. Like,
why is that funny?
No, it's just a number.
Oh, just good number. Okay.
A nice number.
Yeah. So then we got to the halfway point, and I think we thought we were doing well, and which okay, so
Which I was thinking second place was
so by the end
us.
of the race we ended up finishing third. Just to get this get that spoiler alert out there. So we did come home third.
What?
So we
Started
we
to
finished
finish third.
Yeah, we started and finished third. So all in all, like not a bad day. We didn't lose any positions, although we didn't gain any positions. I think going into the race, we had high hopes of winning this thing. But I think
so does everybody.
right. But it's not like we were, showing up to the race and just thinking like, oh, like now I got to try kind of thing. That's not who any of us on the team are. Like we all showed up there. We wanted to give it all of our best, and we did. And I think that's where, now I'm trying to go through the lap times right now and just getting everything sorted. But we were trying to come up with any excuse besides pace to make sure we didn't miss anything, because you don't really want to hear that your pace was just off, but we can also all accept at the end of the day if it was pace. So
right, and we did. I felt like we all did a really good job putting our egos aside and really just putting our mind at the task at hand.
Yeah.
Because as race car drivers, Sean, it's race car drivers are very selfish,
yeah,
and really just want to win.
Yeah,
they just want to win, and we were able to do that. And for the other five of us besides Alex Gomes, this was a learning curve for us.
Yeah,
we were learning the track.
I thought you were gonna say he was the most selfish one out there.
No. I am not gonna say that. No. He was.
No.
He was our fast guy. He really made it happen, and he put on a great opening stint and great closing stint, might I add.
Yeah,
he really did a good job at the end. And for you, I, and Evan, Hugh, and Charlie, we learning a new track. We did okay.
Yeah, I think we did all right.
So,
I gotta go. I gotta go back.
We got our first podium. We got our first podium in endurance karting, and that's really look. I'm not trying to pat ourselves in the back, but that's an accomplishment in itself.
No, and after the race, a couple of us were talking, and I think we, to kind of look at some of the positives rather than just looking at the negatives of being like, oh, like, well, we're slow, whatever. I'm like, well, we finished the top two teams finished on the same lap, second place, or so Voodoo Racing won, and then Touring Kart Racing finished in second, and they finished on the tail end of the lead lap, and then we finished 2 laps down. Like I said, I gotta go. I'm still in the midst of going back through the lap times to see where we lost those 2 laps, because it didn't feel like we lost 2 laps, but having the track the lap time be only 40 seconds, if you're a quarter second slower every single lap, that time adds
up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you just don't realize it. So I think that's hopefully, if that's the reason, then that's the reason. But the top 2 teams have both. Well, Touring Kart Racing definitely has done a endurance karting race before. I think Voodoo Racing has done one as well.
They do the whole calendar from what I understand.
Okay. So to say that we were only 2 laps behind I guess seasoned veterans in this championship, I think that's pretty good to look at that. We just showed up for one day and we were relatively close with the pace, so I think that's a good positive takeaway. And then looking at the rest of the field, there was 13 other teams that we beat on just pure pace. Yeah, only one other team was in our class, but that other pro team they finished 4th overall, and we beat them by 6 laps, I think. So
yeah,
we were 6 laps ahead of the rest of the field. So which I think is something not to shy away at all. So because you take out the two experienced teams, and all of your I guess rookie teams are new to the series, we were the best of the rest. So yeah, definitely there's still some positives to take away from the race. So, but yeah, and then what was I gonna say about the second half of the race? Oh, the second half of the race, we had our strategy planned out, but we did notice that the field just kind of like was very evenly spread out, and everyone just kind of like minded their own business. So there wasn't a whole lot of action or people running off the track or anything like that. Like everyone was pretty well spaced out, and it wasn't like you were getting a bunch of clusters on track.
Well, no, and I was I was wondering when I got in the cart, would I be battling with Touring Car Championship? Which I wish, I wish that was the case. I would have really, well, and at the, let me, I'm kind of fast forwarding myself, but towards the end of my first stint, the Voodoo Racing was right next to me, and I was a moving roadblock for them. I was like, you are not getting by me. And then they got by, and then you guys called me in, which I mean I thought was perfect because I was really about to like I would have lost us time by just like battling with them, unfortunately. But the way I look at it is, I wanted to hold them up as much as I could, really make them work for it.
Yeah.
And I just.
Well, I think,
look, we're trying to beat him, at the end of the day. So,
I think we did a really good job of when we decided to make pit stops. We did a really good job of calling each other in on the times we did, because every time we came in and then got released, we came in with no traffic and we got out with no traffic. So we really, I think we really maximized clean air on those occasions. Now, whether the actual time of the race when we made those pit stops was that right, like I said, we still got to go back and try and find out what we did, if raw pace was our main issue, so or not. But yeah, no, I gotta say overall with this event, I absolutely enjoyed it. I think the guys put on a great show, and I'd definitely do another race again. I think it was completely worth the whole experience. So if anyone's interested, they like I said, procupkarting.com, and you can go to the events page and see all the races that they do. I mean, they have their next race that they're doing is an 8-hour race in Charlotte that they're doing. They also do let's see, their calendar, they have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 16. They have 19 races during the year. A lot of them are 6 hours. They do have one 24-hour race at Charlotte Motor Speedway. So I mean, if you're anyone out there that wants to just show up to a track and do some endurance rental kart racing, this is definitely a great series to do.
Right, and show your skill, because I mean this is spec racing right at its best right now, and especially with the new fleet of karts. I mean, the best time to do it is now, because I mean, look, I mean, I'm even thinking about doing the Fall Classic at Lime Rock, because I really think maybe I could do something there. So who knows? So I love it when there's new karts. It does bring the opportunity of a spec race, so it really and truly goes down to driver skill.
Right. Yeah. No, it was. I think, and a lot, and after the race, when a couple of us were having dinner too, I think we were also all just really happy to sit there and be like, oh, well, it's really nice because we've also, all of us have made the next move up where we do the high performance karting with our own karts, running, whether it be in the tag class or in the 4-stroke class. But it is nice to go back to that rental karting level where you do just get to show up and drive and then not have to worry about working on any of the karts. Because I think a lot of us there, you do forget. You do forget what it's like to just show up and focus on the driving, which is what we're all there trying to do anyways, even with our own carts, is we just really want to go out there and drive and not, yeah, you can make some setup changes and whatnot, but if you can just focus on your driving and then just really just get into hours about talking about how to go through the corner like this or another way of coming at it, or you come up on a situation of three carts, like how do you handle that? So
Right, and I would even add like my toughest corner was the final hairpin leading onto the longest straight, because
yeah,
getting that weight transfer was almost everything.
yeah, I
Because you had to sacrifice your speed before that kind of lazy right-hander, which I mean,
yep.
it's very tempting to go full throttle and just swing wide, but you lose your setup for the hairpin.
Yeah. You're trying to relearn how to do momentum driving with the slower carts. So it's definitely a different approach to what you might be used to with some of the higher speed carts. And that goes with like any type of racing too. I mean, you notice that like an F1 car around Spa might take might take their line completely differently compared to say like an F4 race, or a touring car race around there. It's the same track, and you take like a similar racing line, but similar isn't the same. But that's driving different carts on the same track.
Right.
So
So all in all, a really good 6 hours of New England for us.
yeah,
Getting the podium in pro class. Look, we were in pro class. We were on the podium in pro class, and look, we if anything, I mean, I felt like I got all my goals accomplished that weekend. I mean, winning's everything, of course, but look, we're on the podium in the pro class.
mm-hmm.
I got to, man, don't get me wrong, I love racing with you, Christian, but I was really pumped to see Evan Rackison back at the track.
It
Because
was
no,
yeah.
listen, he was my rookie season. We had a colossal championship battle between the two
Mm-hmm.
of us. It was first and second, or last and second to last, because we'd
Yeah.
wreck each other. You know what I mean? Because I mean, that was just, to me, F1 Boston, my rookie season.
Mhm.
There. So um, we've definitely come a long way between all five of those drivers, and it was so cool to see him again and race with him too. I joked with him too, like in the under the tent. I was just like, from our humble beginnings
Yeah.
at F1 Boston to here at Le Mans, and he can do nothing but laugh.
Yeah.
And then the other funny bit was when Alex came out, he was throwing out his hand to get a high five. I was the only one that actually high fived him.
Yeah.
And Evan's like, "You're never gonna wash that hand ever," and we were just like geeking out, like just classic stuff. So I
Yeah.
mean,
No,
I was really pumped to see Evan.
yeah, there's some great camaraderie between the team too, and I think that's stemmed too just from the great battles that we've all had with each other on the track too. Because I mean, I have countless battles with Alex on track, and then I mean, especially this year,
Yes, Charlie,
with Charlie and Hugh as well.
you.
But yeah, and then even I mean, and then all of us have done plenty of stuff on the sim too. I mean, yeah, it's not real world, but we still carry that level of respect and hard racing into the sim as well. So during the winter months
No,
up here in New England, where we can't be out on a track, we're still mixing it up online, and it's still the same thrill that we have when we're out there in the real world. So
right. And might I add, you broke the TKC system, the last race that they had.
mm-hmm.
I was so pumped to see you win that race. All seriousness, I was like,
For the
he
people that
has to
didn't,
win.
for the people that don't know, there's the touring kart championship has an esports league, so I decided to join last week, and they do races on Thursdays. Um, so I decided to hop in and do a race with them, and they do the IndyCars, and then wherever the track is. But last week they did IndyCar at Road America, so
and you had an amazing battle with Miles Brown. I'm gonna drop his name there
Yeah.
because you two really, I mean, were the class of the field and put on a clinic. And look, like Miles Brown, he's still yet to get a win, and he was really close at Charlotte too. And Derek Moore took the win.
Yeah.
I like his nickname is the Kansas Wind. So if you're listening, Derek, the Kansas Wind. So he's someone that's really good, and I think he actually ended up on the podium too. I think he came in third at Road America. So he won the championship last season in Touring Car Championship esports.
Yeah.
And so he's just he's a threat for sure. Also, so I definitely want to see you on that again. I think the next race is Michigan. That'll be a wild card race.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how dominant I am on ovals. That's definitely a different
animal.
different animal for me.
Sure.
I'm definitely more of a road course specialist than oval, but it's not to say that oval racing is bad, because it's different driving.
It's a different mindset.
Different mindset.
It's a different mindset.
I've definitely doing races, and because I mean I'm definitely one that's like I'm not a huge fan of NASCAR, but that's also for other reasons than just the driving. Because I mean for me it's like, oh well, it's just two corners.
Stage racing.
It's just two corners.
Right. And you get
it's four corners. My bad.
Yeah.
But
it's just.
But no, it is. It's not to take any skill away from anyone who does oval racing either. Like you do. I mean, doing the races online. Yeah. Again, I'm not. Just because I drive the sim doesn't make me an expert. I understand that. But you do get the same. A similar mindset where you do have to work for a pass. It's not just in one lap you're going to make the move. Sometimes it takes 10, 20 laps to work a guy
finally make that move.
Yeah,
right.
Work the guy around the outside or up the inside, whichever way you're gonna make the move. I mean, a lot of the times too, it's because you only have two braking zones, and then you got two braking zones, and then two zones where you're getting back on the gas. So I mean, really, you're talking about being perfect on four things around the lap for 100 times because it's so short. But you have to be perfect about that every single time. But that's the same thing with road course racing too. I mean, yeah, it's just it's more corners involved, but the same philosophy applies where you just need to be perfect at every single turn in order to get the win.
Right. I mean, with oval racing, it's still a race. It's still
Yeah.
guys and gals duking it out. And it's just you could be in the lead, and something happens. It's like unlike any other sport, but it's still that idea of a race.
Yeah.
And it's just there's just more opportunity to grab the lead versus I think in road course where I mean, don't get me wrong, lots of opportunity on a road course to get the lead, whether it's driving down the inside and outbraking your opponent, or just simply making the right pit strategy call.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so that's that. I still have my virtual Rolex watch that I wear to this day. It's invisible.
Yeah,
2015.
We're gonna have to try and get another one before the 10-year anniversary. Otherwise, we're gonna be sitting there like, oh yeah, it was 10 years ago.
Yeah, right. Like it's collecting dust. We need to find.
Well, first off, we got to get your computer up and running. That's priority number one.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Yeah. I think it's gonna be like sometime in July, but it's gonna happen very soon.
Well, maybe we'll do the Petit Le Mans race to get a Kickstarter on that.
Yes.
That'd be a good race to revisit.
Yeah, so. and then this time I can actually like stay and do more than an hour and a half.
3 hours. Yeah. And then leave me with seven straight hours of driving. Thanks.
Yeah. Oh my God. Who would do such a thing?
Yeah.
No. But that was a big third place for us too.
I think we finished second.
Second?
Yeah.
Oh, even better.
Actually, you know what? Regardless, we finished on the podium,
and
I remember the leader came around, and he came over the radio, and he was like, "Hey, do you want to go and like finish on the lead lap?" And I'm like, "No, dude, like please pass me. Like it's okay." I'm like 7 hours into a stint, I'm like, I am okay. Yeah,
Like,
that was a
please.
good that was a good one-time try. I'm not gonna do it again.
Yeah, no.
I've,
I hear
I've
you there.
learned my lessons, and I will always do a team of at least 3 in a race that's 6 hours or more.
Right, and even winning the 24 Hours of Daytona, that was just the two of us, and
Right.
that was still a tall order. And it was like I did 13 hours, you did 11. I mean, that's
Yeah.
still like a tall order.
Right. Yeah, you're talking about sitting in a chair for 12 hours, not moving. So, all right.
Anything else?
No, I think that's gonna wrap it up for this week.
Appreciate you guys coming up with that great, recap of that fun event you guys participated in. So.
Yeah, no, it was
Yeah.
great
Good time.
stuff.
There was some
so,
great social posts from some of your teammates. So
Yeah,
it's fun to see.
yeah. Who knows? We'll see if we'll see what more endurance races look like
Right.
for the Red Dust team.
Yeah, for the guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Right. Put some F1 Boston zombie drivers on the map
Yeah.
again.
there you go. We'll try and catch up with that at some point.
Yeah, yeah.
So, anyways, just kind of looking ahead. We got Indycar Mid Ohio this weekend.
No, 2 weekends.
2 weekends.
So
So still got a
2
2 weekend
weekends.
off.
So
All right.
this next weekend is NASCAR is going to be at
Nashville.
and then IMSA has the 6 hours at the Glen, which
Just a
Classic.
Yeah. If anyone needs to go to a race weekend, I suggest go to Watkins Glen, and you will be OD'd on sports car racing
Yeah.
by the end of it. 3 of us
yeah.
have been. It's a fun time. Some great places to dine around there, and just a great experience.
yeah, and just don't forget the history of the track. As well.
Yeah. Did we actually walk the track?
No, we didn't.
We didn't get a chance to walk the
No.
track. Next time, well, when we're camping there, we will.
Yeah, when we camped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, anyways, we'll do that soon.
So.
Well, we'll get there.
Yeah.
Maybe for Kimmy.
Which I mean, still.
No, we
yeah.
won't. We gotta race that.
Oh,
weekend.
we have a race that
Yeah,
weekend.
sorry.
Anyways,
Karting race.
so and then the other big thing is the NHKA doubleheader at Loudon this weekend.
Yep.
Yes,
On the
sir.
hill course, we're running it in both the clockwise and counterclockwise direction.
Yep. One day will be clockwise. The other day will
Yep.
be counter,
So,
or vice versa.
Hopefully,
whichever way we go.
and there's some fun shenanigans planned. There is a cookout, and some other shenanigans are being planned. So, who knows? Some surprises. Who knows? We don't
Yeah.
know.
Maybe some. Yeah.
Anyways,
We'll see what comes out of this
some
weekend.
get together with
Yeah,
friends.
no.
Yeah.
Well,
It'll be fun.
best of luck, Christian, because I both races, both rounds, I really feel like you have a really solid shot. Go get them.
Yeah, we actually are.
Hopefully we won't die of dehydration out there.
Yeah, the
'cause
best thing
looks like
is-
it's gonna be warm.
The
this
best
weekend.
thing is everything's loaded. Everything's loaded up.
90s.
80s on Saturday, maybe touching 90s
Yeah,
on
on
Sunday.
Sunday.
So
But-
we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, definitely
We'll see
drink a
how it
lot of
goes.
water.
Yeah.
But we're all loaded up, so
Yeah, no,
we're
we're-
so
Yeah,
far ahead.
We're,
It's not even
we're loaded
funny.
up, ready to go.
Ready to go. No, seriously.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
And I think this time we packed everything up and we were like, is there anything more? Because we
No.
have more space in the
In the
trailer.
trailer. I don't know what we're doing, but we're gonna fill up one spot with something new we bought today.
Yeah.
So, which we desperately needed to do.
Yeah.
So, got a new generator, so we're
Yeah.
very excited. Bigger, bolder, powerful.
We aim to be the level 5 motorsports setup.
Yeah,
Of the karting
yeah,
scene.
with a crappy looking,
Yeah, without Scott Tucker.
with a crappy looking 6x12 foot. We
Yeah,
look good,
yeah,
but
we
gotta trailer that.
Yeah.
Oh man, the trailer goes, but it's not as sexy as some of the other trailers.
Well, there's no sponsors on the car, so we know where we know where the money's coming from.
Yeah. Anyways, it's my pocket. Well, not anymore. It's kind of coming from both of
Yeah,
ours. but
yeah.
I don't know. Someday maybe we'll grow up and get a real trailer.
Yeah.
We're very fortunate to have what we have in
Yeah.
terms of the trailer. So
Yeah.
it does everything. So
Yeah.
but we're ready to go.
Get them,
And-
fellas.
Yeah. So, anyways, so once again, thanks for joining us, and look forward to talking to you in a week, and we'll recap this weekend's racing news as well as our own little racing adventure. Hope everyone has a great week, and we'll talk to you soon.
Good night.
Rest in peace, Gary the Groundhog.
Oh, no, I just hit a groundhog. Thank you guys for listening to the Red Mist Podcast, hosted by Christian Abbott, Sean Abbott, and Nathan Lavin. It's produced by Christian Abbott, and music is by Alex Wart and Harrison Tate.